Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wind Down Friday. Today, our guest is Giovanni Garcea, CEO of AnDAPT. Hi, Giovanni. Welcome aboard. How are you?
Hi, thank you very much for having me. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. So, where are you located, Giovanni?
I live in Barcelona. I work from home.
Good. So, Giovanni, let's talk about you, about your company. So, you have a rich background in digital power, PMIC, power management integrated circuits, and so on. So, you played a key role in analog FPGA-based programmable PMIC. So, please share yourself. Please introduce yourself and share your career journey. Tell us more about you.
Sure. I was born in the south of Italy, in Calabria, and moved to
Wonderful place.
Milan for university. And toward the end of my master, I fell in love with power electronics, and I did an internship with ST Microelectronics in the industrial and power conversion division. That's where I learned that academia was not for me. So even though I started a PhD there and finished a PhD there, I always thought I'm not going to stay in academia. I'm going to move to Silicon Valley.
Mhm.
So I had the opportunity to be visiting scholar in Virginia Tech, and through the connection I made there during my PhD, I was able to have secure an interview with Volterra. That was a company in Silicon Valley, and that gave me the opportunity to finally move to the Bay Area together with my then girlfriend that had just been accepted at Stanford.
Mhm.
After a few years, though, I wanted to have the startup experience, so I moved to a small company called Semiconductors. We were doing mainly battery chargers, and eventually we got acquired by Qualcomm. So I worked for the Qualcomm PMIC division for many, many years until I decided it was time again to go in a small company, and I've been in AnDAPT ever since.
Great. Thank you, Giovanni. I would strongly recommend a meeting in Calabria and then in Barcelona. Let's do it.
Sure. I like to live in nice places.
So let's talk about your current company and technology. So AnDAPT. So AnDAPT is pushing the boundaries of programmable power solutions. So what excites you the most about its potential and how does it change the PMIC field landscape?
Of course. What excites me more about our technology, about AnDAPT technology, is that it's a fundamentally different proposition
Yeah.
to power architecture in a specific space of the low voltage power management that I think has been underserved and with lack of innovation. If you look at the innovation of the past 10, 15 years in the low power world,
Mhm.
uh, most of the companies have been focused either on portable devices, so PMIC for smartphones, very high volume, or for very high power, high performance rails like VR power for a microprocessor. But the system has changed over time, and now there are hundreds of smaller rails, and the solution is still using discretes, using a large number of parts. So there's really no innovation there. And what AnDAPT brings is a programmable technology that will allow to bring integration in this type of market, in this type of architecture. So how does it change the PMIC landscape?
Mm.
It changes it by making it bigger.
Mm.
So we bring PMIC integration and features and advantages in spaces where the PMIC doesn't exist right now,
Mm.
where the architecture is still built out of discretes.
Okay. Good. Nice. So you, as you mentioned, you have experience Volterra, but also other companies from your biography. So with your experience, Qualcomm, Volterra, and now, as you mentioned, AnDAPT. So you have been at the forefront of power innovation. So the next question is, what are the next big breakthroughs you anticipate in power management and semiconductor design?
That's a great question. I always thought about this at several levels. And depending how people place their passions and their interests, they will reply in a different way. But I think power electronics can be defined in terms of layer of innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will focus on the device level, so GAN, for example.
Yeah.
Or on the converter level. And the breakthrough that has been thought about for years is capacitive-based converters. So we'll see that happen. Then there is the architecture level, where I think we're going to finally see some innovation in 48-volt direct conversion in data centers. And then there is the system level, in which you try to bring everything together with software assistance and maybe AI in the future to try to have all this little innovation actually give full advantage at system level. Over the years, if I look at my career from when I was younger to now, my interest has moved up. You know, when I was younger, I was the guy who was fighting for the 0.1% more efficiency or reducing two output capacitors. Over time, I realized that there is a lot more fun to be had at system level innovation. So I think the future would be focusing on joining software and hardware for better power management.
So during Wind Down Friday, I usually like to ask about hobbies, passion for speaker for you in this case. So beyond semiconductor and power electronics, what are some of your passions, hobbies that help you to recharge your batteries?
Of course. So I have several hobbies, but I would say the one that defines my week and my life is exercise. I exercise every day, pretty much. Strength training, running, cycling, tennis, squash. And I cannot think about not exercising. And so when I travel for work, I also almost never miss. It becomes like a game. I look at my schedule when I travel and say, how can I squeeze a workout if I'm traveling to this country or this city? It's almost like a game to try to never miss. My other passions are books. So I joined them, the two hobbies together. I switched to audiobooks. So I listen to audiobooks while I exercise. And I listen to about 70 to 100 audiobooks per year.
Good. Very nice. So back in terms of semiconductor, so let me share a comment. So the semiconductor industry is often seen as both energy consumer, so manufacturing in this case, and enabler of efficiency. So how do you see power electronics balancing this paradox, if we would like to say?
It is definitely a paradox. That's a very good point. I think there are a simple way to answer that I think is not that satisfactory. Is to say, oh, we're going to bring the innovation from power electronics into the manufacturing supply chain by making the manufacturing itself more efficient. I don't think this is a very strong argument because at the end of the day, most of the supply chain installations or equipment has a very long life cycle. So they'll see innovation that was done 20 years ago. So what we need to invest is offset. So like the carbon footprint offset of the airplanes. So power electronics has to become more and more efficient to try to offset the huge consumption of manufacturing. I think batteries is one of the forefront battle where you need to achieve that.
And talking about climate change, so governments and industries are setting aggressive targets in terms of climate change, climate targets. So what do you think about that? What do you think is missing in today's conversation around energy efficiency and sustainability in electronics, but in other markets? Feel free.
Right. So a couple of things. One is, I'm not absolutely the first person to say, many people have said that, but government targets will not work unless they are consistent all around the world. If every country does whatever is best for their country, and that unfortunately is the landscape right now, it is very ineffective. So countries that are in different stage of their industrialization They might put some targets that are great for them right now, but it will not help other countries that are at a different stage of industrialization. So that's the biggest problem right now. In terms of what's missing on the from the conversation, in my opinion, we don't talk enough about the fact the life cycles of electronic devices is getting shorter and shorter, and nothing is repairable. Very few things are reusable. So the amount of e-waste is staggering. And I don't think there is a very strong worldwide policy to address that.
In conclusion, Giovanni, so on a personal level, so what's your philosophy on sustainability? So any habits, practices you have adopted to reduce your own carbon footprint?
In my opinion, the most important thing about sustainability is that any mandate or habit that is not easy to implement will fail. So if you make recycling too difficult, people will not recycle, for example. So my philosophy and my family philosophy has been to start from the root of the problem. So living close to your office is the best thing that anybody can do for sustainability. So we don't walk, we don't drive, we only walk. Our kids go to school with public transportation. When we were living in California, we had 3 cars, and now we have 1 small electric car, and we don't use it every day. So it's organizing your life in a simpler way, and there are other benefits for family life and personal life apart from helping the environment.
Totally agree. Thank you so much, Giovanni. Grazie mille. It has been a pleasure talking with you, and stay in touch. See you in some parts of our planet in some power conferences. Thank you, Giovanni.
Thank you, and ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.